Welcome to British Focus. Today, we dive into one of the most highly anticipated political encounters. JD Vance, known for his razor-sharp rhetoric, is set to meet UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. With free speech on the agenda, how will Vance challenge Starmer's stance? Stay tuned as we break it all down. But before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join our growing community. Your support keeps us bringing you top political insights. Now, let's get into the video.
Fascinating, because there was obviously some of these European leaders that, they were a little uptight about it. It stressed them out just a little bit.
A little bit.
But you talked about the greatest threats in Europe.
Yeah. So look, the greatest threat in Europe, and I'd say it was the greatest threat in the United States until about 30 days ago, is that you've had the leaders of the West decide that they should send millions and millions of unvetted foreign migrants into their countries. That is the biggest threat to Europe. And frankly, it remains, by the way, the biggest threat to the United States because yes, we've got 4 years of President Trump's leadership, but I guarantee you, if the Democrats ever get power again, they're going to try to do it again. We cannot rebuild Western civilization. We cannot rebuild the United States of America or Europe by letting millions and millions of unvetted illegal migrants come into our country. It has to stop. Thank God it stopped here, but it's got to stop there. And a related issue, Mercedes, is you can't just stop it. You have to allow European peoples, and of course the American people too, to raise issues about it.
Right.
You have to allow free speech to debate this stuff. You have to stop doing things to the populations of the world. You've got to give the populations of the world the opportunity to speak up and say, no more of this BS. We want borders, we want sovereignty, we want to be able to speak our own mind in our own country. And I guarantee you, if we don't allow free speech, and of course, the Biden administration, I made this point, Mercedes, the Biden administration did more to destroy free speech, not just in the United States, but also in Europe, than any administration in American history. I'm not even blaming the Europeans. I'm actually saying you follow the lead of Joe Biden into censorship and mass migration. Follow the lead of Donald J. Trump, and that's free speech, borders, and sovereignty. That is the future for our shared civilization.
What are your thoughts on today's discussion? Let me know in the comments below. It's clear that the tensions surrounding Reform UK and Zara Sultana's remarks are only intensifying, and Farage's response leaves no room for doubt. This is a battle of free speech and political rhetoric that will only heat up in the coming weeks. Don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to British Focus. Other news, let's take a look. Nigel Farage isn't the only one making headlines. Jeremy Clarkson has sparked outrage with his latest remarks, boldly stating that he'd rather have Vladimir Putin running the UK than Keir Starmer. His words have triggered massive backlash, but Clarkson is doubling down, dismissing the outrage as an overreaction. What exactly did he say, and why is this stirring such controversy? Stay tuned as we break it all down.
If you'd, on a separate note, if you'd given any thought to the Coventry South MP Zara Sultana and the campaign she seems to be launching against you personally and the Reform Party. She's been publicising an event in Birmingham, it seems, with a picture of yourself cartoonised, with a big, no entry sign, not allowed sign, and also a letter comparing Reform to the BNP and the National Front. What do you reckon to that?
I think it's disgraceful, and frankly, I think it's almost insightful. It's very, what she said about me and about our people is very close to incitement. And clearly what she's trying to do is she's trying to get, a crowd of protesters, many of whom may not behave themselves, to turn up on the 28th of March, when we're going to be holding the biggest political rally seen in the United Kingdom for many, many decades. If you believe in free speech, even if you disagree with what Farage says and what Reform stands for, an attempt to stop the event from going ahead, I think is an absolute democratic disgrace. This is not the way that any elected member of Parliament should behave, and I would like to see Keir Starmer getting tough with backbenchers who behave in this appalling way. Everyone knows Everyone knows that Reform is non-sectarian, non-racist. We're open absolutely to everybody. It's just that we're patriotic. We believe in controlling our borders and putting the interests of the British people first. That's what we stand for. You can come and argue against me. You can tell me that I'm wrong. You can tell me we should have open borders. Fine, that's democratic debate. But to try and get people to come along and close down our conference is disgraceful.
Nigel Farage has once again ignited political debate after fiercely responding to Zara Sultana's accusations, in which she likened Reform UK to far-right groups. Farage has dismissed her claims as dangerously close to incitement. As the battle over political narratives in the UK intensifies, a crucial question emerges. Is Reform UK being silenced because it poses a threat to the political establishment? Sultana insists that Reform UK thrives on scapegoating migrants and Muslims, while Farage counters that his party is neither racist nor sectarian, but rather patriotic and committed to national sovereignty. Yet, beyond this verbal confrontation, the real issue at stake is the future of free speech in the UK. With Reform UK gaining momentum in the polls, its upcoming rally on March 28th could mark a defining moment in British politics. Will it proceed without disruption, or will political pressure and protests overshadow the event? The answer to this question could shape the political landscape for months to come. But this isn't the only showdown that could alter the course of UK politics. While Farage fights against left-wing attacks at home, JD Vance is preparing for a high-stakes meeting that could have repercussions not just in Britain but in transatlantic relations as well. JD Vance, a prominent US senator and one of the most influential voices in the Conservative movement, is set to meet with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Known for his sharp rhetoric and uncompromising stance, many are asking, what will JD Vance say to Starmer in this highly anticipated discussion? The conversation is expected to center around free speech, sovereignty, and immigration policy, three of the most divisive topics in both the UK and the US. Vance has long championed strict border controls and has been an outspoken critic of weak immigration policies. His views resonate with many British voters who feel that Reform UK is addressing concerns the mainstream parties have ignored. The key question is, how will Keir Starmer respond? The Prime Minister is in a delicate position. He must balance his messaging between the progressive left and the growing skepticism about his leadership. If Vance successfully exposes weaknesses in Starmer's policies, this could spark a major shift in the political debate in Britain. This face-off is more than just a diplomatic exchange. It symbolizes a broader ideological struggle. On one side, there are those who advocate for national sovereignty, border control, and free speech. On the other, there are leaders who support a more globalist, progressive approach to governance. While Farage fights for the right to speak without censorship, JD Vance is poised to challenge Starmer and highlight inconsistencies in his leadership. The question is, will it be enough to shift the political landscape in the UK? These two events reveal that British politics is at a crossroads. On one hand, Reform UK is gaining strength and pushing back against left-wing narratives. On the other, conservative voices from across the Atlantic, like JD Vance, are influencing Britain's political discourse. The big question remains, where is the UK heading? Will it embrace a nationalist, conservative shift, or will progressive policies continue to dominate? The battle for free speech, sovereignty, and national identity is more intense than ever. And now, it's over to you. What do you think? Is Nigel Farage right to say Zara Sultana's rhetoric is inciting hostility towards Reform UK? Will JD Vance put Keir Starmer on the back foot in their upcoming meeting? Are we witnessing the rise of a new political era in the UK? Let us know in the comments below and join the conversation. If you enjoyed this analysis, hit the like button, subscribe to British Focus, and check out our Liberty shirts at british.com. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Rocket fire.